chances are, if you're part of the general population, you at least know of the Harry Potter franchise. But, like, really only Harry Potter fans know the Fantastic Beasts movies. That's how I've seen it. Like, for years, I knew of the Harry Potter franchise. I knew of Voldemort. I knew of Harry Potter. But nothing about the Fantastic Beasts movies. Until I got into Harry Potter. But this video is about why I prefer the Fantastic Beasts movies to the Harry Potter movies. Now, some people might disagree with me, but this is just my personal opinion. So, let's begin. Now, with the Fantastic Beasts movies are not as talked about as the Harry Potter books, and especially the Harry Potter movies. A lot of the Harry Potter videos I've seen are based off the movies. There are 2 YouTube channels that I've seen that make Harry Potter videos out of gosh knows how many that base them off the books, not the movies, and occasionally base them off the movies because it's necessary for them to be based off the movies. But with the Harry Potter movies being adapted from books, it's gonna have some issues. Because, like, when the first Harry Potter movie came out, only the first 4 books were out. And so they didn't know the importance of certain characters in the Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, or the Deathly Hallows. And so it made it that, like, it was a bit more convoluted. Plus, the movies didn't all have the same director. Chris Columbus directed the first 2 Harry Potter movies. Then Alfonso Cuarón directed The Prisoner of Azkaban, and I cannot remember... Mike Newell, that's his name. Mike Newell directed The Goblet of Fire. And from what I've seen, he wasn't really a good director. And then the final 4 movies were directed by David Yates. My favorite was definitely Alfonso Cuarón, because he's a very good filmmaker. And I will agree with the people who say that his adaptation of The Order of the Phoenix was really good. And I have not read The Order of the Phoenix yet. I haven't even finished the first Harry Potter book, but I have context of the books. And so I'm not going to say stuff about the books. I'm not going to say whether I like them or not, because I have not read them. But I've watched videos on them, so I know what happens. But, yeah, I haven't read the books. But David Yates also directed the Fantastic Beasts movies. Another thing about them is that they aren't canon to the movies. Or they aren't canon to the Harry Potter movies, they're canon to the Harry Potter books. And, well, that does cause some issues, because, the visuals and stuff are based off the movies. But it's actually canon to the books. I noticed when I first saw Secrets of Dumbledore in theaters, I noticed that the Ravenclaw crest was based off the movies, not the books, which annoyed me. And so, it's just also because they're not based off of anything, they are from the grounds up. They aren't based off any prior source material. And so, with the movies, if you don't have any context of the books, you're going to be very confused. I'm willing to bet that if you don't know anything about the books, except for that they exist, and the fact that there are 7 books and 8 movies, because they split the 7th book into 2 movies, I'm willing to bet you were very confused at a lot of parts of the Harry Potter movies. And so watching the Harry Potter movies with the context of the books, that helps. But with the Fantastic Beasts movies, yes, they are still confusing, I will admit that. It's just okay, why are we going to... when I first saw the first one, I was okay, so why is Jacob with them again? But I had watched it with somebody, and they were oh, well, it's because they have to make sure he doesn't have an allergic reaction or anything to the beast that bit him. And I was oh, they didn't make it obvious, they didn't, really tell it. Oh, actually, no, maybe because I wasn't paying attention, I don't know. But to me, it just still felt kind of confusing. Okay, why are we going to Germany now? in Secrets of Dumbledore. Like, yeah, J.K. Rowling is not a good screenwriter, I will admit that. She is a good book writer, but not a good screenwriter because she's used to writing books. She has to show, not tell, in movies. But in books, you could just tell because, like, that's the only way to do it. Another thing is, I prefer the fact that we're not just stuck at Hogwarts for 7 years. We are exploring the wizarding world, learning about obscuruses, visiting the different ministries of magic. Ilvermorny. They didn't explain Ilvermorny in the movies all too much, but like on Pottermore or whatever, the Wizarding World website, there is the story behind Ilvermorny. And it's just like, we get to see so much of the Wizarding World. We were just stuck to Great Britain in the Harry Potter movies. We get to see America, France, Germany. And it's just so much more interesting to learn about that stuff. And I also like that it's following adults and doesn't feel like, that it's not kids and stuff. I prefer the main characters to be adults. I also like Newt, I like Tina, and I love that they actually incorporated a Muggle into the story with Jacob, like somewhat with the Dursleys in the Harry Potter books and movies, but like not really a whole lot integral. Like they're not always there, they're just mentioned a bit. While with Jacob, he's there. He is one of the main characters. And I also love Gellert Grindelwald. With Voldemort, he was just evil because he was evil. And spoiler alert, if you don't know the context of the Half-Blood Prince book, because it wasn't explained in the movie, Voldemort, aka Tom Riddle, was conceived under a love potion, and that is theorized to be the reason why he's just so lifeless and doesn't have any affection towards anybody except for himself. And I believe that. And with Gellert Grindelwald, he is not just black. He's black and white. He's yin and yang instead of just Voldemort being, I don't know which one's yang. All I know is that it's yin yang. But like Grindelwald, a lot of people point out in Crimes of Grindelwald that he just lets a baby die. Oh, spoiler alert, I forgot to say that. But if you pay close attention, he doesn't watch it. He looks away and you could see on his face that he's upset by that. He isn't mindless. He isn't just someone. And he's also based off real-life dictators. People may say he's a hypocrite, but he's a dictator. He's manipulative. He is literally based off multiple dictators throughout history. And, I also like Mads Mikkelsen's Grindelwald. I personally prefer Depp's Grindelwald. But I like Mads Mikkelsen. I also prefer the far darker tone of the movies compared to the I also prefer the far darker tone of the Fantastic Beasts movies than the Harry Potter movies and the books. And I also like the orchestral score, too. What else? Oh, yeah. I am a sucker for the 1920s aesthetic. I like the fashion, music, and stuff. I like it. And so that could be another reason why I like the Fantastic Beasts movies, although I think Secrets of Dumbledore takes place in the 1930s, but it's close enough. Kind of like how I thought The Legend of Korra Season 1 was really good. That might be partially because like I said, I'm a sucker for the 1920s aesthetic. That's really all I have to say about the Fantastic Beasts movies. I'm sad they are not continuing them, but I hope that the final two get adapted into a screenplay, because like you could buy the screenplay for the first 3 Fantastic Beasts movies. So I hope the final 2 get adapted into screenplay, or all 5 of them get adapted into books. If they all 5 do get adapted into books, I will buy them. Probably never read them though, because like I was close to finishing this, and I never finished. I was close to finishing the first book, but I never finished it. It's just like, I have books that I need to read. I bought, well, months ago, I bought the Iliad and the Odyssey for $20 on Amazon, and I barely read this. Also, Legend of Zelda Goddess trilogy books. Like, they're more like encyclopedias, though, so I don't really read them. But yeah, like, I just don't read much, but I would like to. I've noticed that I work better with graphic novels, though. Like, a couple months ago read a book series up until book 15 because it got repetitive. And there's more books. Like, they're sitting on my shelf right here, but I'm too lazy to grab them because I have a bunch of stuff in the way. Anywho, I'm getting off topic. Bottom line is, the Fantastic Beasts movies I really like. I prefer them to the Harry Potter movies. I'd rather watch them than the Harry Potter movies. And I wish they continued, and I would have loved to see Dumbledore and Grindelwald's duel in 1945. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching.